Okay, so let's move on with the boat Speedo and getting the top board with the display and associated bits working. So we know we've got 15 volt display supply, so let's move on and try and get the display working. And the display supply should appear here, which should be 15 volts. Right. I think I will try and plug a display in and see if we can get any display out of it. Okay, I've got one display in, which is the display. I blew some segments, so we wouldn't expect them all to work, but we would expect it to go around each segment in turn in different colours, in which instead of we get one segment on green, nothing, 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 nothing. One segment on green, nothing, 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 nothing. Occasionally it puts two segments. Oh, there you go, two segments. Nothing, 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 nothing. So the only the green drive seems to be working. So we'll address that problem. So it's supposed to go around the segments. Did I say that? Probably. Okay, let's have a look at the red, because this is the red drive circuit, and then get at it. The other ones are under that display. So that's the display from the processor. Go. That's the drive from the processor, and you can see it comes up 3 and then goes down when the green's on. So that seems to be working, and that is the base of the transistor that should be turning the FET on. Well, that's going up to 3.3 volts, but that shouldn't be doing that arm. That's the right. So left the red one for now, pulled the display out, and wasn't getting anything arriving at the driver circuit from here. And on inspection, some of these pins here, the solder had just balled up around the end of the pin and not spread out over the circuit board. So hopefully, if I now need to fire this up again and check the green LED is flashing. Is it? Yeah. So hopefully if I grab my meter and look on there, yeah, and I should get 3V3 there as well. That's not good, because that's supposed to be to the base of the transistor. And that's exactly what the red one was doing. So it is a possibility I have blown up those two little transistors somehow. Okay, I shall investigate further. Right, woe is me, for my soldering is dodgy. So I have run round with the iron both of these, and this And that still doesn't look like it's working. Oh, that's power on. Done. Right, so this is the red. Yep. Oh no, 3.3 there. Okay, but this side I ran round with the iron and get in 0.67 on the base of the transistor, and the collector of the transistor drops to ground and goes back up again. So that's the blue, and I seem to have fixed that. However, the red, not so good. I shall investigate further. Well, actually, let's see if we get any. Let's see if we get some blue segments coming on now. Yep. Well, yeah, we're getting some blue segments, not all of them. So we're making progress. Okay, well, I've replaced the transistor. So let's see if that has fixed the problem. So, fire her on. Yep, that's fixed the problem. So this should sit nicely up at 15 volts and drop to 0. I'm liking it. Right, so I am actually this time going to do the sensible thing, disconnect the power while I put the display in. Come on. Oh, no. Yeah. Get in. Let's see what happens now. Oh. Right, where's my bit of paper? Nothing. Still no red. Yeah, red. However, the segments are all over the place, so that is the next problem. Okay, so here it is. Got all the segments, all the colours working. Was in fact well, I had some port assignments incorrect. Had to sort those out. That was just changing the code, and most of the problems I had were these little driver chips, or should I say the soldering thereof, which was terrible, quite frankly. So I'm glad I'm going over to the solder paste method. There were blobs of solder on the pins, not anywhere near the pads. However, so this little guy was absolutely my saviour here. It comes out as like a gel, so you can just run a line of this gel along the edge of the chip, dab the point at the end of the iron, the tip of the iron on each pin, and miraculously you get nicely soldered pins. So here we are. We have a full set of working segments. Now what I plan to do, I think, is get everything working and actually to the point of writing a bit of driver code for them. So I'm going to crash on with that. We'll write driver for the display. This is just hack code to light each segment in turn. And then we'll probably move on to the debug interface, because it's always useful if I can get debugging information out, and then maybe the LEDs here, because they're the same circuit as the displays. And I plan to do that in consecutive videos. Let's just crash on and get the hardware running. Okay, so first job is just to plug in the little FTDI based USB interface into the debug port and get that working, so we can get information in and out of the Nucleo for debugging purposes. Geez, even trying to use a 2-digit display, even if the display is working. So I have written the code, or taken the code out of the code I was using when I was debugging, getting things working, checking things worked, whatever. So it's opened the FTDI automatically, because it's looking for that specific FTDI. So here we go. Let's hit loop back. It doesn't work. It worked yesterday. I think it probably wants me to... Well, if I pull that out, would it work? Oh. Right. So firstly we turn the power on. There we go. Now let's not. Okay, so let's fire this up. FTDI opened automatically because it knows to look for that specific one. And if I hit loop back, there we go. And that's gives you the tick count in the Nucleo and the tick count in the PC. So that's working. So now we will move on and get the display working. Okay, so I have moved on off camera, mostly writing software. So I've got both displays in, and I have made the light bars, which will look like that to the outside, are just a couple of LEDs tacked together and stuffed in the connectors just to check the circuits. And well, we knew all the segments were working on the LEDs, so I've just wrote code. And this little job here, that was another one, another of those driver chips that was full of dry joints and those pins to them. That little guy down there. And I've never in the past had all this problem with soldering surface mount or some surface mount stuff, so I'm beginning to suspect that it's using Multicom's finest solder. I've always bought it from Rapid in the past. Whether the flux in this isn't so good as the flux in the Rapid stuff. It does say flux class though. I have no idea what that means. Anyway, with my magic gel flux, fixed it. So shall we see how it does? So okay, I have updated the software to send little commands just to drive things. So let us fire the software up. Here we go. So if we hit loop back, yeah, it's working. So right, the display, we can send 2 digits with a decimal point in the middle or not, and set the colour. So we will set 1.2 red, send, and up it comes. And I put again a sheet of paper over it so it doesn't blind the poor camera. So if we send 36 and green, send, there you go, and here we go, 8.8, and blue, that turns all the segments on, and that's drawing 600 milliamps. So yep, they're quite thirsty, those display segments. And if I want to display nothing, I've just kind of bod, so underscore in there is assumed to be a blank digit, a space, because you can't see spaces. Okay, so moving on to the light bar, we have over there, top, middle, bottom. So the bottom is yellow, the top is red, and the middle is green, and then we have left and right. And just have to look at whatever these lights are that come on. So top, left, middle, bottom, okay, bottom, left, and let's just put them all on. Now normally only one would be on at once, but just for test purposes we can light them all. So they're working nicely. So what shall we have a look at next? I think we should have a look at these 2 sensors. Let's turn those lights off. So it's not blinding the camera. These little guys, which go in these little connectors here, which from your angle you probably can't even see, just below the display. So I will some ways wire those on, and we will reconvene and see how they work. Okay, so here they are, just tacked onto some pin headers and pushed into the sockets. And after the usual fight with dry joints, which seem to have become a plague around here, they seem to be working. So that's got my come on, lights shining on them, and here we have 2 Windows progress bars, and 4095 is the maximum they read, so that's pretty much maxed out with that light shining on them. And if I turn the light off, they go down a bit because I've got the lights on for filming. So actually I might leave it at that. So if I put my finger over the right one, down it goes, and the progress bars have a bit of a mind of their own. They're just easy to set up, and put my finger over the left one, down it goes, there it goes, back up. So I am happy they are working. Yippee! Okay, well, we have all the bits and pieces on the top board working, which is just the light sensors, the display and the light bar LEDs. So that seems like a good place to stop this video, to finish this video, and on the next one move on to the bits and pieces on the bottom board, which are the GPS, the Bluetooth and the SD card. Which are a bit more complicated, but I have had them working, so I have got bits of code to drive them, so hopefully, if I haven't made a complete mess of the wiring it up, it should work. We shall see. So until then, it's a goodbye from Triplicate. Goodbye.